3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor, 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all of our great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course, streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, X, wherever you want to go, at Zach Gelb. That's ZachGelb. I got Ryan Botcher. I got Moist Mike. And we are rocking and rolling all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Bart Winkler will join us for a little Winkler Wednesday coming up at 4:40 p.m. Eastern time today. And then in the final hour of the show at 5:20 p.m. Eastern, 2:20 p.m. Pacific, former Bears defensive lineman Alex Brown is going to stop by. We'll preview the Bears for today. Let's start with the Bears right out of the gate. Bears fans, I don't want to get crushed for this. And I don't think this is controversial. But sometimes when you call a fan base very negative, the fan base gets annoyed because they're like, well, what do you mean? Why are we negative? What is there to be positive about? So I don't mean that with a negative connotation. But I think Bears fans are fair football fans because I don't think they take the bait a lot going into a season because of how much doom and gloom they've had at the quarterback position. They always expect kind of death taxes and the Bears not having a franchise quarterback. So when I say Bears fans usually negative, there's a lot of reasons why they are negative when they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in the franchise's history, which is kind of still surreal, especially with how many years this has been a prolific passing game in the NFL. And they just went through the song and dance of thinking they had their guy in Justin Fields, and the Bears were getting praised, and they made that trade with the Giants a few years ago, and the Bears messed it up. Now, is there a chance that Justin Fields is not as good as advertised? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I thought why Justin Fields didn't succeed in Chicago was more because of the Bears rather than Justin Fields. It doesn't mean Justin Fields is exonerated from all blame in that game. But Caleb Williams is a different feel than Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is without a doubt, right, perceived to be that guy that is a generational prospect. And he has confidence. He has a huge arm. He is a mobile quarterback. But we've seen generational quarterbacks go to places before and not last long in this league, even when they've had success, because you go to an organization that messes up the prized possession. Look at Indianapolis, for example. Andrew Luck had sensational numbers. Andrew Luck in Indianapolis was a great quarterback and was going to be a Hall of Famer. I truly believe that in the NFL. And instantly walked in and made that team a playoff team. But the Colts didn't protect him, and the Colts ruined him. Ryan Grigson should be locked up in charge with football crimes, and Andrew Luck retired earlier than anyone could have expected. And just because you're that franchise guy, like Trevor Lawrence was kind of viewed the same way as Caleb Williams, like the guy can't miss. And one bad year, one really good year, and then last year he did regress. So it's not a lock. But what you need is the individual talent, and then you need to go into the right spot. And Bears fans, I know some of you will maybe be like, okay, I'm going to believe Caleb Williams is all that. I'm going to believe it's going to work in Chicago when I see it. And I can't crush you for the years and years of pain that you've been through to elicit that feeling. But here's what I'm telling Bears fans right now. What Caleb Williams is walking into is like a penthouse situation right now. That is how great of a spot that Caleb Williams is walking into with an organization that is synonymous for never having a franchise quarterback. But you look at what they did yesterday. They locked up DJ Moore on a 4-year contract extension. That was very important because you have a lot of targets, a lot of weapons there. You don't want DJ Moore getting upset. I don't think that's in his character, but it's natural instinct when you're not getting your touches. You want more touches, then you become a distraction. So taking care of DJ Moore financially on a 4-year contract extension worth $110 million was a smart move. You also have Keenan Allen. You have Rome Odunze, who I think is going to be a stud in the NFL. You have DeAndre Swift at the running back position and Cole Kmet, who is an underrated tight end in this league. Think about what the number one pick is walking into. And I know they weren't the number one pick because of their own incompetence. They made a heck of a deal a year ago with the Panthers to put them in this situation. But this is an organization in the Bears where it feels like you're always rotating in quarterbacks, you're always rotating in coaches, you're always rotating in GMs, where I feel good about the Bears right now. I feel really good with what Ryan Poles has done the last few years. I feel really good about what Caleb Williams is going to do. And I'll raise my hand. When the Bears hired Matt Eberflus, I was like, what are they doing? Why is Matt Eberflus the coach of the Bears? But I've been impressed with Matt Eberflus. And I didn't think Matt Eberflus, quite frankly, was going to be the coach of the team. If you asked me this time last year, would he still be on the team, coaching the team going into the next season? I would have said no. And I did say no. But this is an organization in Chicago that has set themselves up not only for success this year, but for years and years of success moving forward into the future. I'm not sitting here telling you it's going to lead to a Super Bowl. I'm not. This is a damn tough division now with the Lions. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. The Packers always find a way to get it right. And we know Minnesota has offensive talent. They improved on defense. Now we got to see if they have their next franchise quarterback. But you look at Chicago right now, and let me just use a frame of reference of last season. What do we talk about all the time in this show? The AFC is tougher than the NFC. Well, last year, C.J. Stroud walked into the AFC. Let me remind you, to an organization that was in peril, to an organization that is a laughingstock for a while in the Houston Texans, and with not a lot of talent around him, but since they had the right head coach and a right young defensive player in Will Anderson, they went from being a basement team, a basement dweller team, to winning the division, being in the postseason, and winning a playoff game. Think about that. That is what C.J. Stroud was able to do last year in the AFC, where you have more established teams and better quarterbacks in the AFC. Now, Caleb Williams walks into it, albeit a tough division, but an easier conference. And if you just compare the offenses of the Bears and the Texans from where the Texans were this time last year to where the Bears are right now, Caleb Williams is walking into a much better situation. And that's a credit to Ryan Poles. That's a credit to this organization. That is a credit to Matt Eberflus as well, the head coach. But you look at the offensive situation the Bears have with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, and most importantly, Caleb Williams at quarterback. There's no reason why the Bears shouldn't be a playoff team this year. I'm not telling you win a playoff game. I'm not saying win the NFC North. But 9-8, it feels like will get you that final wild card spot in the NFC. And Caleb Williams in year one should be able, if he is a franchise quarterback and as generational as what people say, have them in that playoff contending mode. And I feel very confident about the Bears this year. The Bears will be one of my 7 teams in the playoffs in the NFC. And there will be some bumps and bruises, as like every rookie goes through. And there will be some games where you'll have bloviating people on the radio saying, oh, maybe Caleb Williams is not all that. But at the end of the season, I think you're going to look at Chicago and say, wow, Ryan Poles did a heck of a job. Wow, Caleb Williams is just getting started. And look at the destination and the attraction that Chicago is turning into. And I'll say this. If Caleb Williams doesn't turn out to be a star in this league, then Chicago, you'll never get it right. There's no other way around it. This is almost, with the situation that he's walking into for the start of his career, is like when you go to the bowling alley and you have the bumpers up. And the bumpers are Swift, Moore, Allen, Adunze, Cole Kmet. Like, those are a heck of bumpers that are standing right up there to help you and guide you through your rookie season. It's a heck of a situation. And I think actually the NFC North's going to send 3 playoff teams there this season. Lions win the division. Packers finish second. Bears third in the NFC North, but they get in at like 9-8. Now, you look at the Bears' schedule. It's not a tough schedule. Tennessee week 1. At Houston week 2. Fun game. At Indianapolis week 3. Rams week 4. So a little bit of a difficult start because you got 2 really good teams in the Texans and the Rams, a solid team in the Colts, and a team in Tennessee that you should beat. But after that, Carolina, they should win. You play Jacksonville, they should bounce back this year. Bye week, you play the Commanders. You're at Arizona. You got the Patriots. Oh, that's a pretty easy stretch. When you look at coming out of a bye week, Commanders, Cardinals, and Patriots. Then you play Green Bay, tough but division game. Minnesota, division game. Lions, division game. Niners. That's where the schedule starts to get tough. And then after that, you're back in the division to finish up the season. Vikings, Lions. You have Seattle on a Thursday night, and then you're at Green Bay. So it's not the easiest schedule. I'm not saying that. But it's not the schedule that you look at and you say, oh, you can't find 9 wins on the schedule. Like Tennessee should be a win. At the Texans, I'll give them a loss. At Indianapolis, I'll give them a win. Rams, I'll give them a loss. Panthers, I'll give them a win. Jaguars, I'll give them a loss. Like, I would be like try to be critical here. So that's 3 wins through the first 6 games of the season. Bye week, at the Commanders, that's a win. At the Cardinals, that's a win. And then the Patriots, that's a win. That's 6 right there. And then you go into week 11. You need to just get 3 more wins on this schedule against Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco, Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle, and Green Bay. You get 3 wins there. Then you're a playoff team. This team, I'm not telling you they're going to be 11 wins, 12 wins, 13 wins. That would be crazy. That would be foolish. But it's not crazy to say that this team that won 7 games last year can go tack on 2 more wins or even 3 more wins. Like Caleb Williams, if he is as generational as what people claim, he should be able to, in year 1, improve that team when the team got better. Not just better at quarterback, the team got better than what they were last year. He should be worth at least 2 wins, which would then put you from 7 last year to then 9 this year. I'm optimistic on the Bears. I am bullish on the Bears. And I think the Bears, actually, I think I'm just being fair here. I think the Bears are a 9-8 team this year, that they make the playoffs. And the offense, man, Chicago, you've had, even when you guys were in the Super Bowl, or you're up against Indianapolis, and you had Rex Grossman as a starting guy, like, that wasn't the greatest offense in the world to watch, let's be real. But you have an offense that actually gives you a reason to be excited about. So I know I sound like I'm waving the Chicago Bears pom-poms today. I don't think I'm being crazy, though, and delirious, though. I'm saying go win 2 more games than what you did last year. And if you do that, then you'll be a playoff team. And who would have thought we would have seen Matt Eberflus coaching a playoff game? But I think that's going to happen come January. 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. Let's start it off with Kevin in San Antonio. First up on the Zach Gelb Show, wants to chime in on the Bears. Kevin, what do you got?
This is my first time calling, and I just wanted to tell you that back in the day when the Bears won the Super Bowl, they were awesome. That was just one time. But I think that this quarterback, Williams, he have to grow first. We cannot expect a lot of things. I know that the fans want to expect Super Bowls and stuff. They have to let him grow, build around him, and then, they be successful.
Yeah, well, no one's saying Super Bowl, and thanks for the phone call, Kevin. No one's saying Super Bowl this year, right? We're not doing the Super Bowl shuffle here, all right? That's not happening right now. But we are prisoners of the moment. And yes, last year, Bryce Young was a disaster with Carolina. But C.J. Stroud walks in with the Texans, who are a dumpster fire of the organization at the time, and he put them in the playoffs. The Bears aren't a dumpster fire. Bears fans may think they're a dumpster fire, but what he's walking into right now in Caleb Williams in an easier conference. It's not the AFC, it's the NFC. Easier conference. Yeah, I'd be disappointed the Bears don't make the playoffs this year. And all I'm asking for is 2 more wins. Two more. 7-9. And then if you miss the playoffs 9-8 on a tiebreaker, so be it. Those things happen. But if this team isn't a 9-win team this year, I'll be very disappointed with the Chicago Bears. What are your expectations for the Bears this year? 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. I think they're going to the playoffs. We'll come on back. We got some post-MLB trade deadline reactions.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. A bit of a ho-hum Major League Baseball trade deadline. I didn't think Tarek Skubal was going to get traded, but that was the big name potentially out there. And I kind of look at it, the Flaherty deal right at the buzzer yesterday by the Dodgers is what the Dodgers do, always at the deadline. And we all know the Dodgers, it's World Series or bust. Like, there's not a team in Major League Baseball this year that will get trolled more than the Dodgers if they don't win the World Series. Like, I know the Yankees, who aren't even leading the AL East right now, they're not that far off. But right now, they'd be the first wild card spot. Like, going into this year, Yankee fans didn't think they were going to a World Series, and they got off to a hot start. They chilled a little bit. Now they're starting to pick it back up with what they're able to do against the Phillies. The Phillies, by the way, they've been red hot, and we know how great they are with 65 wins in Major League Baseball. And yeah, it's World Series or bust for the Phillies. There's no doubt about that. The Braves have had some bad injury luck. But no team will get trolled more if they don't win the World Series, even with some of their injuries, than the Dodgers this year. Like, there's not an excuse I want to hear from a Dodgers fan if you don't win the World Series. But getting Flaherty was an excellent deal. The Mariners last week getting Randy Arozarena was a phenomenal move from the Rays. And Jazz Chisholm, who has done a very good job, already has 4 home runs with the Yankees. And what he's been able to do, he's an entertaining player. Now in a huge market where people are actually going to care about him, and you're already seeing his personality really shine bright. And the Yankees bullpen, a little bit of a concern for me. I saw Garrett Cole got scratched the other night. The rest of the lineup does have question marks. They've been hot and cold. But you now have Judge and Soto, and a player like Jazz Chisholm, who's a very good player, gets thrown into that lineup with those bats around him. I think you're going to see Jazz Chisholm, what you've seen so far this past week, in a small spot. I'm not telling you he's going to go hit like 50 home runs. I'm not saying that. But in a small spot, you're going to continue to see him, I think, benefit going to the New York Yankees. But you take a look around Major League Baseball. I know you look at the postseason. Major League Baseball postseason is phenomenal. The only thing is, I would say it's the third best postseason out of the 4 major sports, which kind of seems criminal because of how great it usually is. But I would say 1, Stanley Cup playoffs, 2, NFL playoffs, 3, MLB playoffs, and then 4, the NBA playoffs out of the 4 major sports. But there's a lot of uncertainty right now. Before the season started, I want to say I picked the Orioles to win the World Series. I think I picked them to go up against the Braves in the World Series and the Orioles to defeat the Braves. But right now, I didn't have the Guardians at 65 wins, to be fair. And we know what Ramirez is doing is just ridiculous. But look at them. The Orioles are a young, fun team, being 20 games over 500. The Mariners' rotation, as long as they get in, and I know I said that last year, I'm not going to want to face the Mariners in a short series with those 3 studs that they have on the mound. That's very tough. And then you look at the potential wildcard teams, you know what the Yankees could be. Minnesota, I don't love. Kansas City, Witt Jr. is very good. The Red Sox, better than what you expect. Astros, until they're not in the playoffs, the Astros are always a threat. And I think Verlander's on the verge of coming back. I saw that he threw like 50 pitches in a rehab start yesterday, but they had live batters, but they weren't allowed to swing or something like that. So it wasn't actually in a game. And then the Rangers, defending World Series champions, they're a few games under 500, but let's see what their second half of the season has in store. And then you look at the National League, Phillies are just ridiculous. Even though they have not played well up against the Yankees, and they're trying to avoid getting swept today. I did not see what the score was. I know Stu is actually at the game. The Yankees, is that from today? I think did the Yankees win 6-5 today? Guys, if we could just double check
just
that. It just ended?
Just
okay, so the Yankees, they ended up sweeping the Phillies. That's a heck of a statement. That's a heck of a statement by the New York Yankees to walk into Citizens Bank Ballpark. And that game last night in extra innings was crazy. But to take 3 from them, that will reel back in the Yankee fan a little bit. Because they lost the first one to Boston after getting swept by the Mets. And they lost the first one to Boston, then won the series up against Boston. And now they are riding on a 5-game win streak. So it's a good job by the Yankees. There's no doubt about it. But you look at the rest of the NL, like, hey, just because the Phillies got swept doesn't mean they're a bad team. That's going to happen in the course of a 162-game season. You know what the Dodgers could be. The Brewers, I feel like no one's talking about them, but they're a very good team at 61-46. And then you look at the wild card. The NL wild card's going to be fascinating. Because my Mets, let me say this. My New York Mets, I never thought there was going to be one meaningful game that they were going to play in the summer. It felt like it wasn't even the summer yet, and the season was already over, right? That Family Guy skit, opening day, here's the first pitch, and the season's over. And I know the Mets now are getting crushed by Minnesota 8-2, but they've already won this series, taking the first 2. Nice job by Edwin Diaz last night on a 4-out save. But this Mets team, after today, they're going to be 57-51. The fact that they're over 500 is crazy to me. And entering today, they were only a half game behind the Braves, who the Braves just can't get any luck this year. Now, they got that guy Merrifield over from the Phillies, who the Phillies got rid of. They put him out there, and he got hurt, like warming up for them. And that's just the type of season it's been for the Braves, where sometimes injuries are just really nasty. But you look at the Padres, all's going well for them. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're starting to get hot. The Diamondbacks, I'm not counting them out, right? Who was talking about the Diamondbacks? I remember we had Christian Walker on last year when I was doing 6:10 p.m. Eastern time. And around this time last year, I had Christian Walker on. And he said, and they weren't even locked to go to the postseason at the time. He says, we have all the pieces we need to go on a deep run this year. And they ended up going to the World Series, where they were going into an elimination game in Philadelphia in Game 6. They won, and then they won in Game 7, which I never thought that was going to be the case. And the Pirates, with the Skeen story, is going to be right there. The Cardinals, even though they've cooled off a bit, but they're a few games over 500. It's like you look at this Major League Baseball postseason that we're gearing up for. Right now, like if you maybe guess who's going to World Series, your guess is as good as mine. Because like the Phillies you feel great about. But just last year, people felt great about the Braves. They didn't get there. The Dodgers always have that choker feel to them as well. You know, right now, if I had to pick World Series matchup, it's going to sound lame, but I would go, you know what? I picked the Orioles to win the World Series for the start of the year. So if I had to alter off the Orioles, I'd actually go with the Mariners right now. I really like their rotation. I do. You don't like that pick, Botcher? You're looking at me like I have a million heads.
I just really despise their lineup. They have 3 quality hitters.
Yeah.
So the down season from J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez is a shell of himself, and he's hurt. You trade for Rosarena, and him and Cal Raleigh are the only 2 that are doing anything.
The only thing is, though, I feel like in Major League Baseball, and there's usually a surprise team from one of the leagues. And last year, or really the last few years, it's been the NL that's had those surprise teams. So maybe it ends up being the AL this year. But who am I trusted in the AL to get to the World Series? I'm not trusting anyone to get to the World Series in the AL. Who do you trust, Botcher?
Nobody. I don't think any team got a solid rotation piece in the trade deadline. Nobody made moves for Crochet, especially he's an idiot for saying what he wanted to say with the
Well,
extension.
you called him a what?
He's an idiot.
An idiot?
Yeah.
That's kind of a game, right? Agent game.
And now he's stuck in Chicago.
Sure, he's stuck in Chicago. But the guy, I would agree, it would have benefited him. I'm not going to call him an idiot. Name calling. I'm not going to do that. I would never call names. But you look at him and Crochet, to me, I don't have a big problem with what he said. With the whole, if you don't give me a contract extension, I'm not going to pitch for you in the playoffs, right? With that whole line?
He said that, and he won't come out of the bullpen, even though he started as the bullpen piece last year.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be coming out of the bullpen with the way that he was pitching this year. But he was trying to force himself to get a deal right now. So that scared some teams off, no question about it. But you look at the AL, it's a giant question mark. Like the Yankees bats never show up in crunch time when they need to. So I probably should stick with the Orioles, but I'll go to the Mariners. And the NL, I'll put the Phillies in the World Series. You still got Nola, you still got Wheeler. We'll see when Suarez comes back from the injury. He was incredible for most of the first half of the season. But I think he could throw darts. We should put Stan Botcher up, put a blindfold on him, get a dartboard, and just have him throw darts on a 8 AL teams and 8 NL teams. And I think that is a better shot of anyone's analysis right now for the World Series.
Watch out, though. I might hit someone else.
Yeah. Make sure I'm just
Been
standing.
around 5 times?
Yeah, make sure I'm standing out of the way. Maybe we'll have Samter and Hickey just hold up the dartboard. So if the dart doesn't go on the board, maybe it hits one of them. So, all right. This is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Come on back. We'll update you some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We will get to a news brief. But first, with the latest Infinity Sports Network update. Look at this. My radio godmother, the great Erica Herskowitz.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Hey there, Zach. Yeah, this report brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Well, first up, let's get it going with the baseball scoreboard. Plenty of games going on this afternoon. Top of the 8th, the Twins lead the Mets 8-2. Matt Wallner capped a 5-run third inning with a 2-run homer for Minnesota. Bottom 5, the Braves and Brewers are tied at 2. Bottom 6, the Royals lead the White Sox 6-3. And in the 5th inning, it's the Cardinals 3, Rangers nothing. 3 games already final. The Yankees beat the Phillies 6-5, sweeping the series, picking up a 5th straight win. DJ LeMahieu, a grand slam and a 2-run double. The Orioles bounced the Blue Jays 10-4, and the Marlins beat the Rays 6-2. Xavier Edwards drove in 3 runs with a sac fly and a 2-run single. From the NBA, Grizzlies reportedly signing free agent guard Luke Kennard to a 1-year deal worth $11 million to keep him in Memphis. From the NFL, the Patriots have reportedly come to terms with defensive tackle Devon Godshaw on a 2-year contract extension worth up to $21 million. From golf, Keegan Bradley named Team USA's 4th assistant captain for the President's Cup. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on X and like us on Facebook. Our handle is @INF Sportsnet on X and INF Sportsnet for Facebook.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The fun continues on the Infinity Sports Network.
I don't know why this is going to be a random thought that makes zero sense. And I'm going to be very disappointed if Botcher hasn't seen this movie. Have you seen Wayne's World?
I've seen
Wayne's World.
I got through about half and I passed out.
What, you drunk?
No, I was just tired.
Oh, on a gummy?
No, it was just a snoozer.
I don't know. Wait, isn't Wayne's World like 90 minutes? Not a long movie.
Yeah, it just didn't hook me.
Okay. That's a great movie. Wayne's World. I don't know why, though. The last two songs that you played, maybe just because my headphones were turned all the way up for some reason, I felt like I was on like the couch of Wayne's World in the in their house. I don't know why. That's what just popped into my head. So that's the mood that you're getting me into today, Ryan Botcher. It's a Wayne's World type of movie. So would you watch that entirety? Would you go back and watch that entirety movie?
I'll watch it.
Okay.
I think I got to the part where they were trying to get a manager or something.
Okay. Oh, so you passed out real early.
Yeah.
You pass out a lot during movies?
No.
No? Okay. Just making sure. It's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag #AskThePros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. You can think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's get to a news brief.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Billy Wolf in the YouTube chat says, someone read out Botcher to Bilotti. You called Wayne's World a snooze fest?
I just didn't finish it. Maybe I have to watch the last half.
I don't get how you could call that a snooze fest. That's disappointing. Botcher, you know who you are? You came to this network and people were talking about you like Caleb Williams, right? Generational talent in a great situation. And then you saying Wayne's World is a snooze fest is what Bears fans fear can happen to Caleb Williams, where he's not all that. And so far you have been all that up until that moment. It's a bad job out of you.
One bad game doesn't ruin a career.
Yeah. How old are you?
23.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. We're not that big of a difference in age. Like, I'm 30 in 2 weeks or next week. Ooh, man.
Bill and Ted, though. I love Bill and Ted. Don't like Wayne's World. Same style of movie.
You're just digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole. Ted, I like. Like, come on. Let's not compare it to Wayne's World. But what I will say is, Billy Wolf goes, you're now Zach Wilson. That's good. But, like, there's sometimes where we ask questions to Botcher. And I go, man, I can now tell that he's a lot younger than me, even though it doesn't feel like when you look at 23 to 30 that's that big of a difference. All righty, anywho, let's go to Buck Rising. These were, I guess, his comments that he made on Twitter a little while ago that set off Jeffrey Simmons yesterday at Titans training camp. Here is the Buck Rising show on 104.5 The Zone in Nashville.
If he genuinely thinks that the people who are in that locker room every day, who go to games every day, who are in the locker room with them, talking to them after preseason games, after postseason games, after wins, after losses, actually hate him, he needs to grow up. He is supposed to be the front-facing. Jeff Simmons is the face of the franchise now. For somebody who wants to be a leader, who has been a leader, and has expressed, the interest in a greater leadership responsibility, brother, why are you whining about your media coverage on social media? If you want better media coverage, what I would challenge you to do is play better football.
I have no problem with what Buck Rising said there. Like, Botcher, you listen to those comments. Do you think anything was out of line there by Buck Rising?
No, maybe he doesn't like the fact that a host is saying play better when he doesn't know the ins and outs or something. It's very, very weird.
Well, I think he's more so talking about the team there. Because, I listened to the full clip, and in the full clip, Jeff Simmons was like, the local media and everyone, like, they're against us and things like that. And that was the genesis for what Buck Rising said. And even he said he's the face of the franchise right now. And the team, the last few years, from being a perennial playoff team, has really regressed. So I don't think there's anything crazy there, but it led to this yesterday. Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans basically calling Buck Rising a putty cat when he was hosting his show at Titans training camp.
Jeff, you want to sit down? We can talk whenever you want to talk. Jeff, we'll deal with that later. Roger McCreary sitting down with us here on 104.5 The Zone. Jeff, we're on the air right now.
You do a lot of talking on social media.
I'm right here, Jeff. We can talk anytime you want to. Unbelievable.
We got to make that happen.
Well, we'll deal with that later on. Roger McCreary sitting down with us here on 104.5 The Zone.
You a Panama water guy.
Jeff, if you want to sit down and talk about this, we can talk about this.
I'm telling you, stop talking on social media. Talk to me.
I'm talking to you right here. Jeff, we tried to talk to you last week.
I want to talk to you.
I'm being rude to Roger. We'll deal with you later. Roger,
Okay.
Y'all keep letting
what's going on?
It's good. Doing good out here. I'm doing good.
Now, we played that for you yesterday, but it's so good we had to play it for you again The part that makes no sense to me, and where it makes Jeffrey Simmons look weak, is you're yelling at a talk show host for doing talking on the internet, what he's paid to do. Nothing that he said was out of line. And then when you approach him and he's like, sit down and talk, we'll have a conversation, you just call him the P word. And you basically then just run away. Now, the two of them, Jeffrey Simmons and Buck Rising, they did smooth things over today. I saw pictures all over my Twitter feed of them at training camp, and they were talking together. And I guess now all is well. They could sing Kumbaya together. I guess things are all going well between Buck Rising and Jeffrey Simmons. But I'm not saying that sometimes like media members speak out of line and say things that come off as things that players can be irate about and can be annoyed about. Like, I'm not saying that never happens, but in this case, it seems like Jeffrey Simmons being very sensitive. All right, let's go to Kevin Byard, former member of the Tennessee Titans, now on the Chicago Bears. He was on the Mully and Haw show on 670 The Score in Chicago, and he relays a story on what makes Caleb Williams a true leader.
We finished the walkthrough, and, Coach, he's talked, and, players usually break down. She's a veteran, breaks down. And Caleb wanted to jump into the middle to break it down. And usually, as a rookie, he's like, oh, what does this guy got to say?
Right.
But no, he honestly was just like, hey, first thing he says, he's like, hey, man, we're all grown men here, right? As we're going through training camp, we all use the hot tub, we all use the cold tub, we all use the bathroom and all the areas. He was like, hey, man, like, we're getting a little too sloppy. You know what I'm saying? We're leaving water bottles and towels and all type of things around, man. Like, these custodians have a lot of square footage they have to cover around this whole building. Let's try to help them out by cleaning up after ourselves. And that's just little things, man, because I just think that when you want to be a great player, you always focus on the little details. You know what I mean? Not even just the details of the play, but the details of everything around you, And it's just like little things like that just makes the guy special. Like I said, I think Bears fans are in for a treat for a little while with Caleb Williams for sure.
You look very confused, Botcher. Why is that? What did you not like with that comment?
I was just expecting something more leadership, not clean up after yourself. That's common decency.
Yeah, well, sometimes, right, when you have a lot of guys together and you are, right, doing like activities, whatever they are in the locker room, having fun, you're not necessarily thinking about the cleanup procedure. Especially when you're at that level of fame, you think someone else is going to clean up after you. I don't think that's a bad thing that Caleb Williams is like, guys, we're being a bunch of slobs here. Let's not make some janitor just have to clean up after everything. Like, let's not make this a bleep hole. All right, let's care more about the place that we're in. I'm not saying that means Caleb Williams is going to be a franchise quarterback off of that. I'm not nuts with that, but I think that shows that Caleb Williams cares about everything. Cares about every little detail. And if you care about every little detail, you're usually destined to be great, or you get very sensitive. And then you're on social media just bitching and complaining and calling media members the P word. Pretty cats. Let's go to Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Will J.J. McCarthy take more first-team reps?
You will, at some point, see J.J. be consistently maybe getting a little bit more one reps there. But at the same time, I feel like Sam earned the right to take the bulk of those reps early on here without getting into depth charts and things like that. It's just a standpoint of how we need to practice, the comfort we're trying to build for the whole group. But as far as the rep count goes,
we keep on doing this. We're trying to make Sam Darnold something that he's not. And Sam Darnold plays the Giants week 1 because he's going to be the starting quarterback. Now, the Giants have a good defense with Thibodeau and Sexy Dexy, Dexter Lawrence. You got Brian Burns coming over for the Panthers. You got Bobby Okereke. But, like, the Vikings, I'm not saying it's a lock they beat the Giants, but they should be able to beat the Giants. And that is a Sunday 1 o'clock game. Like, if Sam Darnold has 3 touchdowns against the Giants, people are going to be like, oh, here comes Sam Darnold. That's the 3rd overall pick in the draft that we all expected him to be. But then after that, you will get hit with some reality. Because after the Giants game, Minnesota plays San Francisco, Houston, at Green Bay, the Jets, Jets. Then they have a bye week, and they play Detroit and the Rams. If J.J. McCarthy isn't on the field by at week 8 the latest, I'll be stunned. I really would be. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, you're going to throw a rookie in a tough landing spot. Stop. Nonsense. There is no way Sam Darnold is going to actually weather that storm. And if they keep Sam Darnold on the field after week 8, it's because they're being stubborn. That's what my true opinions on this matter are. But after that, you play Indianapolis, Jacksonville, fine teams. Tennessee, Chicago. I think Chicago's going to be good. Then you get Arizona, Atlanta, Chicago, Seattle, Green Bay. All right. It's not an easy schedule. You go through that. Minnesota, in year one with Kevin O'Connell, home playoff game. They lost to the Giants. Daniel Jones just destroyed that defense. Defense was embarrassing. Last year, the defense got better, but their quarterback got hurt. And Minnesota did a fine job last year, especially with how early they lost Kirk Cousins. But they were 7-10 football team. I don't think they're going to be that good this year, Minnesota. And it just seems like a waste to throw Darnold to the wolves early on in the season, even if you think Darnold right now is better at quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. But I actually think McCarthy, you look at the 6 quarterbacks that went in the first round, I'm really confident on Caleb Williams. As long as Jaden Daniels stays healthy, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. Drake May, I don't know how much we're going to be able to evaluate him this year because I really do believe the Patriots are going to play Jacoby Brissett a good portion of the season. After that, I'm not a believer in Bo Nix. We won't see Michael Penix Jr. at earliest next year. There's still 3 more years left on that contract after this season. But you look at J.J. McCarthy, I think he's fascinating. Because if J.J. McCarthy, who I think could be good, he's just not great. If J.J. McCarthy landed with, let's say, the Giants or the Patriots, so they really don't have a lot on offense. Because then if they drafted McCarthy, the Giants, they would not have Malik Neighbors. I wouldn't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be good. But you go to Minnesota, where you have Justin Jefferson. Now, Addison may be suspended with the drinking and driving, but you do have Jordan Addison there. You got Aaron Jones at running back, and you got T.J. Hockenson when he comes back. That's enough for me to throw McCarthy in there early and see if he's going to sink or if he's going to swim. All right, that's a news brief. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a time out, hour number 1 in the books. And when we come on back to kick off hour number 2, we're going to play a cut here from Antonio Pierce, the new head football coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's about his quarterbacks. And Aiden O'Connell right now and Gardner Minshew. And if you listen to this show, or if you were just a normal football fan, most of you probably share the same opinion as I do, that this time next year there's going to be a new sheriff in town starting for the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think O'Connell's a franchise quarterback, and I don't think Gardner Minshew is a franchise quarterback. Man, I'm giving hot takes today, let me tell you. Sizzling hot on this Wednesday. So when we come on back, we will identify 3 early options for the Raiders for the 2025 season at the quarterback position. Always hit me up, Twitter and Instagram, X, whatever you want to call it, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB, and also on my phone lines, 855-212-4227. That's 855-212-4227. More of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome on in. Hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Ryan Botcher is in today for a vacationing Stu Kovacs. Now, Botcher, you take a vacation? Where do you think you're going? Taking a day off? Or where would you like to go? Just wondering.
Well, I don't go international often, so usually concerts or somewhere in the U.S.
Okay. Like, what kind of concert? What's the next concert? You got anything on the docket coming up?
Next big name concert is Friday night. Going to Mohegan Sun to see Greta Van Fleet.
That's a big name concert for you?
Yeah, they won a Grammy.
Okay. What kind of music?
They're rock.
Okay.
They sound like Led Zeppelin.
What's the name of the band?
Greta Van Fleet.
Is that, are you like looking at me like I'm an idiot for not knowing who this is?
No.
Okay. So you're going to Mohegan Sun.
Yeah.
Good venue. Expensive venue.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But a good venue. I paid to go see Bruce Springsteen and the legendary E Street Band at Mohegan Sun, where it's smaller venue, so it's more expensive. I took my old man there. I hope he's not listening because he is going to kill me if he found out how much I pay for these tickets. They're like $700, $800 a ticket to get in. Yeah, they were expensive. 65th birthday present, though. I'll splurge for the old geezer. There's no doubt about that. But it's a very fun venue. Are you staying at Mohegan Sun?
Yeah, that's also expensive too.
Do you gamble?
I'm going to.
Okay.
Not often.
So now it's going to be a really expensive night for you. What's your gambling game of choice? First gambling game?
Roulette.
Roulette. See, you like me. Do you go inside the table or do you just go black, red, outside the table, or a little bit of both? Like, a little bit of both. Put in a number.
So,
no, you have a strategy?
Not really numbers. I like putting thirds, like the thirds, and then black and red.
Okay, gotcha. So Mohegan Sun concert, and that's this Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Now, because I know someone's going to be in the car that's a fan of this band. They'll be like, how does Gelb not know who they are? Now, I've said this before. I am terrible. I listen to a lot of music, but retaining lyrics and knowing who sings what, that has never been a great strength of mine. Greta Van Fleet, you said?
Yes.
Is the name of the group?
They're not played on the radio.
Yeah, I've never seen this group in my life.
The next one you might know is Green Day, and that's on Monday.
Oh, yeah? I've been to Green Day before. I went to Green Day with Santa at the Super Bowl, and then a few other Super Bowls ago, they had a Green Day concert. That's what, August 5th?
5th at Citi Field.
At Citi Field. Santa's going to that. So you guys maybe go hang out and go to the show together. You know, Green Day is definitely a good listen, so I enjoy that. All righty. So Stu, when he takes off, he goes to a baseball game. So Stu today made the trip down to Philadelphia, and he is double dipping. First stop of the day was Citizens Bank Ballpark. He says, great ballpark, better than I thought it would be. Complete nightmare, though, getting here. Yeah, because the game started at 12:35. You're probably leaving early in the morning. There's traffic on the turnpike. Probably a mess. Also, though, there are a bunch of traffic warnings in Philadelphia, because the real reason Stu's going there is not for the Phillies-Yankees game. He is going to a football game, or what most normal people call it here in the United States, like me, a soccer game. He's going to Lincoln Financial Field for Liverpool and Arsenal. Now, I don't know about you. Kickoff is 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, soccer crowds, I'm not a fan of soccer crowds because it feels like someone always gets into a fight, and it's like a really nasty crowd. Even when you go back to, I think it was Copa America and some of the things that you saw in Florida and in Charlotte. I am not a fan of the soccer culture. It's very culty to me. And I understand, like, football could be a cult too, and there's nasty things that go on in actual football crowds. But the soccer crowd has just never resonated with me. But isn't that a long day? You're sitting at a baseball game, and then he's going to Angelo's Cheesesteak, which you're going to need a buffer in between because it takes forever to get a cheesesteak from Angelo's. And then he's going back to the sports complex there because you have the Wells Fargo Center, you got Citizens Bank Ballpark and Lincoln Financial Field all in that same area, all in that one little circle. And then you're going back for a football game. And then I guess he's driving back right afterwards. You know, that's a long day. That doesn't seem like a vacation, Botcher. That seems like a day of work, having to go to a baseball game, then go get lunch, and then go back to a soccer game before driving back to New York.
I've done one of these before.
You have?
When I was a kid, we did the same thing. It was
soccer?
Phillies game, preseason football, Jets-Eagles.
Ugh!
Yep. I think Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg got some playing time in that game.
Preseason football?
Yeah.
Do your parents not love you?
No.
The last time I've been to a preseason football game, I think it was Bills-Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. And the third quarter ended. I thought the game was over. That's how I was in the press box. I was there for work. That's how bored I was. That I looked up and I'm like, oh, there's still another 15 minutes of this. Preseason football is absolutely miserable. So you did the last multiple sporting event I think I did was a Temple. It was when I was in college. It was a Temple football game. I forget who they played. That was at the Link. And then at night, I went to a Philadelphia Flyers Washington Capitals game. But that's like when I was in college. Stu is what, 33, 34? I'm not, as someone that's about to turn 30. No, I'm an old man. You're not getting me to two sporting events in one day. Unless it's playoffs. If you tell me like you have a double dip somehow at Madison Square Garden for like a playoff game, a basketball, and then a hockey, that I could do. You want to tell me, like, let's say if I was still living in Philadelphia, Phillies played an October game, and then the Eagles had it was an October wild card game, 4 o'clock or whatever, and then the Eagles had like an 8 o'clock game at the link. Okay. Like if you give me a football game with then a different sport playoff game, I could do it. If you give me a double dip at Madison Square Garden, 2 playoff games, a basketball playoff game, and a hockey playoff game, I could do it. But a baseball regular season game at 12:35 p.m. Eastern time, which is already over. Yankees won 6-5 over the Phillies. Into then a soccer match. Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather just take the day off, sit on my couch, and do nothing than do that. So we'll have to see how Stu's little trip was tomorrow. Anyway, talking about Stu. Whenever we talk about Stu, we talk about the Raiders. Now, the Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce was talking to Jonathan Jones of CBS yesterday, and he was talking about his quarterback position. Listen up.
Two guys competing, and to be honest, they're competing against really good defense, so it's not going to be pretty at times. But I've seen guys, one day make some plays, another guy make plays on that day. Right now, we need to see somebody just say, AP, I'm your guy. I'm the quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this is what it is. And until we get to that point, we're just going to keep letting them battle, and there's nothing wrong with that because when we see competition at quarterback, it picks everybody else up. When you got your two guys at that position at the quarterback battling for the most important spot.
How do you split these reps between these two?
50-50. Yeah. 50-50. We'll do that for, probably another week or so, and then somebody needs to take the bull by the horn and say, I'm your guy. When there's no more gray, we'll name a starting quarterback, and we'll live with it.
He's already fed up with this quarterback competition. That's how I take that. And this idea that just because, right, I feel like that's very cliche. And I've said this before, so I'm at fault as well. I don't want to be hypocritical. But there's a lot of times where you will say, hey, competition between two dudes on a football field, it uplifts the rest of the team. But when the competition sounds like it's painful, and not because both those players are mauling other players, I'm talking about it's painful to watch both quarterbacks, it's tough for me to believe that Davante Adams, who we just saw in the wide receivers documentary, who's like, get me off this team if Jimmy G's still the quarterback. It's tough for me to think Davante Adams is getting inspired and is now trying harder because there's a competition between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. The Raiders have some good skill position players. Adams, Myers, they got the 2 tight ends in Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer from Georgia and Notre Dame. Colton Miller is a good offensive lineman, even though he's, I think, banged up right now. Like, you got pieces there. And then on defense, you got a great 1-2 punch on that defensive line of Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. However, if you don't have a quarterback in this league, you turn into like what the Atlanta Falcons were last year, which is there's some games that you win, but you're going to lose more than you win because the quarterback is a detriment. And the Raiders, quite frankly, even though I believe Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback than Aiden O'Connell, they should actually start O'Connell week 1. And the reason why I think they should start O'Connell week 1 is because he's the younger player and he was fine. Not good, not great, not sensational, but he was fine last year. And let's be real, this Raiders team, they're not dreadful, but they're not great. They're not going anywhere, though, this year. So play the youngster in O'Connell when you know Gardner Minshew is just a journeyman, and you go through this competition, you make O'Connell earn it, but it's weighted in his favor, and then see if O'Connell can build off a little bit what he did last year, and if he doesn't, then you have a quick pull and a quick hook, and you go to Gardner Minshew, he's one of those backup quarterbacks that are exciting. If you walk into a season and Gardner Minshew's your starting quarterback, you're like, eee. But if he takes over like week 5, week 6, he's a fine backup quarterback option. He could go through the entirety of a season and won't crush your team. But if he's starting from week 1, you don't walk into the season feeling all that good with Gardner Minshew. So, here's what I'm basically saying. The Raiders don't have a quarterback for next year. The Raiders really don't have a quarterback for this year. Because I don't believe in O'Connell, and I really don't believe in Gardner Minshew for either of me to feel like they will be, either one of them, a franchise quarterback. So I've compiled a list here because I don't think Aiden O'Connell's going to be the guy, hot take. And Gardner Minshew is like fine for a year, but he's not going to be the guy. So when I look at 3 potential quarterback options next year for the Raiders, here's the 3 names that I'll give you. I'll give you 1 in the draft and 2. 1 could be via trade and then 1 could be via free agency. Shedeur Sanders in the draft. How fun would that be if you get Shedeur Sanders with Devontae Adams and also Shedeur Sanders in a Raiders uniform? That would be awesome. And they need a quarterback. They needed a quarterback for the last few years when you look at this. For a long time now. Like, Carr had his limitations. But ever since they got rid of Derek Carr, who you knew it was time to move on from him, but you can't move on from Derek Carr for Jimmy freaking Garoppolo, who I don't think I've ever been more right on a player than Jimmy Garoppolo. Our old boss, Spike Eskin, we have a lot of history. We've known each other for a long time. And I love Spike. But I remember when I was telling Spike, when he was saying Jimmy G should replace Tom Brady, I told him he was a bleeping moron. And I'd rather have Jimmy G go on to be great than give up on Tom Brady. And thankfully, even though Bill Belichick wanted to get rid of Tom Brady and keep Jimmy Garoppolo, Robert Kraft didn't allow that to happen. And look at Jimmy G right now. Where is Jimmy G? Is he on the Rams? I want to say backup quarterback on the Rams. I know he's suspended. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he is on the Rams. So Jimmy Garoppolo is on the Rams. He's a backup quarterback now in the NFL. He got a deal from the Raiders, and he couldn't even make it through an entirety of a season. So you move on from Jimmy G. You weren't able to get Brady because he retired, and they should have got Rodgers. But maybe they go into the well of the draft. And if they do, Shedeur Sanders is young and is exciting. Let's see, though, where we're talking about Shedeur at the end of the season, though. But I'll give you the 2 veteran names. Dak Prescott. Free agent at the end of the year, as long as they don't get a new deal done by the start of the season with the Cowboys, and I don't think they will. Now, they can get that deal done at the end of the season, but Dak, if he wants to hit free agency, he can because of a franchise tag. He has no franchise tag clause in his contract. You put Dak on the Raiders, I don't think they're winning anything of significance, but you look at an organization that the quarterback situation's in a bad spot, you could do a lot worse than Dak Prescott, who's a borderline top 10 quarterback in this league. You just got to pay him a big bag. Now, here's the other name that I think no one's talking about. I think most of us look at Kirk Cousins and we say, he'll be in Atlanta for 2 years, then they'll trade him, and then they'll hand the baton over to Michael Penix Jr. What happens if Kirk Cousins doesn't want to go through with that plan? What happens if Kirk is saying, probably the last few years of my career, I know you guys don't believe in me. Even if I make the playoffs this year, I want out. I want to get traded. Now, it's a big dead cap hit to get rid of him, before the second season. It's a big dead cap hit, but you're going to a young quarterback who you're basically paying not a lot and Michael Penix Jr. to then be your starter. So you could get away with it, is what I'm saying. And if Kirk gets traded, where is Kirk getting traded to? It's not like, let's do a reunion in Minnesota. Like, you go through it right now. Buffalo, no. Miami just paid Tua, no. The Jets, Rodgers retires. If they're looking for someone, okay, maybe. Patriots are going to go with Drake May. No one in the AFC North. Even, I don't think that the Steelers, even if Fields and Russell Wilson don't work out, they're going to Kirk Cousins. Bengals, no. Browns, no. Ravens, no. AFC South, Texans and Jaguars and the Colts, they're not moving on from their guy. Maybe Tennessee. Okay, maybe Tennessee. I give you Tennessee as a possibility. So far, Tennessee and the Jets for Kirk Cousins. Kansas City, no. Raiders, definitely. Broncos, they're going with Bo Nix. You can't be going to Kirk Cousins next year when you just drafted Bo Nix and you picked him earlier than anyone could have expected. And the Chargers have Herbert. Now, does Dak want to do what Saquon basically did? I'm not saying go to Philadelphia, but Giants next year? Could that be in play? I guess that could be a potential destination when you look at it. For Dak, but that was for Dak Prescott that I was thinking about. But you look at these destinations for Kirk Cousins, they're not that great. The Kirk Cousins destinations. Sorry, I threw Dak in there for the Giants. My mind just started racing in a different direction. But you look at these Kirk Cousins destinations, it's a year from now in a trade, the Jets, Tennessee, the Raiders. Like, where else is he going? You want to tell me the Giants? I think the Giants would go younger. The NFC North, not happening in any of those spots. NFC South, because that would be via trade, so that's not going to happen. Like, there's not a great destination out there. Seattle? Seattle would be a good spot, a good landing spot for Kirk Cousins. But I don't think it's crazy to say that maybe the Raiders make a move for Kirk Cousins next year. Because if you need a quarterback next year, you're Antonio Pierce. This year, I think, is a grace year for the Raiders, right? You inspired a lot of people last year. You get the benefit of the doubt this year. But after that, they're going to really start judging you. So those are 3 potential options for the Raiders at quarterback next year. Dak Prescott, Shedeur Sanders, and Kirk Cousins. All righty, we'll take a break. When we come on back, who's going to have the best rookie season between Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze, and 2 NFL coaches kind of told you what the answer is going to be before they knew they were going to be coaching this player. We'll tell you what my answer is when we return in 5 minutes.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Infinity Sports Network.
It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. This can't be a real tweet. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay, that's not a real tweet. I don't think it is. At least there was a tweet out there from JPA Football, which is one of those aggregators. New Dolphins wide receiver, Willie Snead. So the Dolphins, I guess, just signed Willie Snead. Tweeted this about Tua Tagovailoa back in January. The Dolphins will be good when Tua stop acting soft AF. I can't say what that means on the radio, or else I would get would probably get fired and Ryan Botcher would lose his mind. But here's the thing. There's a screenshot of it. And JPA Football puts out a lot of tweets, right? They aggregate a lot of stuff. They posted stuff on about our show a bunch. There's a lot of people in the media that are very against aggregators. I'm not. I think it's good when we have content on this show go viral in other places. In an ideal world where we'd rather get all the views, sure. Would I rather have all the clicks going to my account? But if someone else wants to take the video and just give credit, as long as you're giving credit, then I'm fine with it. If you're not going to give me any credit, go bleep yourself, okay? But if you are going to give credit, then I'm good with that. But the only thing here is, Botcher, I'm just a little bit confused on this, is I go to type in Willie Snead Twitter, and let's see. It says this page doesn't exist. So maybe this is real. And maybe he just got rid of Twitter a little while back. So that's a little interesting. Like, you're Willie Snead. What leg do you really have to stand on in this situation when you're walking into the Dolphins wide receiver room? But that's an interesting signing if that is true. I don't know if it is, to be fair. But I'm just going off the screenshot here from JPA Football that Willie Snead supposedly tweeted back in January the Dolphins will be good when Tua stop acting soft AF.
That's not that bad.
Not that bad?
Jordan Poyer basically called out the Dolphins as being soft.
But he was on the Bills.
Yeah, but still.
Where was Willie Snead? I think he was on the Ravens.
It sounds right.
He's probably jumped around a few teams.
But either way, if a few teams can realize that a potential
Willie
contender.
Snead has been on the Browns, the Panthers, the Saints, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Panthers, and the 49ers. He's only been in the league since 2014. Oh, a lot of spots.
There's nothing wrong with that.
For Willie Snead. You're being serious. You don't think that's you don't think Tua sees that, then someone asks about it? If it's true, I'm saying.
They're grown enough that they can get over this.
I don't know. Did you see Jeffrey Simmons the other day at Titans training camp?
That's why they don't win.
I'm just saying. But, I don't think Tua needs to be worried about it because Tua just got paid. Tua's the franchise quarterback, and there's a lot of other mouths to feed that are more important in Miami than Willie Snead. I don't know, a guy named Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Odell Beckham Jr., and you got Raheem Mostert in that backfield too, and Devon Achane. Anywho, let's hear from Mike Groh. So this is from HBO Hard Knocks. The Giants brought in Marvin Harrison Jr. pre-draft, Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze at the same time, and they did a group film session with them. Then after the session, Mike Groh walks into Joe Shane's office and has a conversation with John Mara, and they asked him, if all three are available when the Giants pick at 6, who would you select? Who would you advocate for? This courtesy of HBO Hard Knocks.
I love it. We draft all three of you guys, man. This ride, you know what I'm saying? That was good. Really good. Best ever. Okay? Excellent. Excellent.
So you're on the clock right now. You got to make a decision. One of those three.
I take Neighbors.
Now, that's an interesting response. Now, there was some pushback leading up to the draft because I said, and I'll agree with this, and I still stand by this, that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver in this draft class. Then there was a little bit of a push for Rome Odunze, but the big push came from Malik Neighbors. And some people, like Nick Saban, it was also said in the episode, by Dayball, because Dayball worked for Saban, that Saban was talking to Dayball, and the two players he was raving about from the draft, they remember Saban at Alabama SEC, so it's going to be 2 SEC players, were Malik Neighbors and then Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers winds up with the Raiders, Malik Neighbors winds up with the Giants. If the Giants were at 6 and Marvin Harrison Jr. was on the clock, was still available when they were on the clock, are they passing on him? Now, we all knew it was a foregone conclusion he was going to go to the Arizona Cardinals because 1, 2, and 3, it was going to be quarterbacks. But let's just say the Cardinals went elsewhere, and then the Chargers, they ended up taking Joe Alta. They still went through with that, and they didn't want a wide receiver. I got to think the Giants would have taken Marvin Harrison Jr. But Mike Groh said Neighbors, and also Joe Shane. Now, it's easier to say this after Harrison was off the board, and then you draft Joe Alt. But Joe Shane, the general manager, then turned to Daboll and said, hey, we got your number 1 wide receiver. So maybe they wouldn't have taken Marvin Harrison Jr. if he was there. But I tend to think that they would. Because my evaluation of Marvin Harrison Jr. is this. Not only is he the best wide receiver from this past draft class, I think he's going to be the best player, period, from this past draft class. If you tell me, Zach, you have to make a prediction on one player and only one player from this draft class to go to the Hall of Fame and go to Canton, Ohio and have a bust in Canton, Ohio one day, who would it be? Be Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I look at all three of these guys. I think we're going to have 3 special seasons from these young wide receivers. I would rank them Marvin Harrison Jr. 1. And then who's going to have the better season between Neighbors and Odunze? I'm going to say it's going to be Neighbors, even though I'm a huge fan of Odunze. And I like the Odunze slightly more than Neighbors coming out of college. But Malik Neighbors is the Giants' offense going into this season. He is their most explosive player, and it's not even close. Odunze, I think, is going to be a stud in this league. But my question with the Bears is, how are you going to feed those mouths? You got in the backfield DeAndre Swift and Herbert. Then in the wide receiving room, you got DJ Moore, you just gave a 4-year contract extension to. You got Keenan Allen, and you also have now Rome Odunze with the good tight end in Cole Kmet. So I think statistically, you'll look at Odunze and you'll see some signs of he's going to be a player. Like how it was kind of with Jackson Smith and Jigba last year with the Seahawks. When he was healthy and he was on the field, you're like, there's some games where he looks like he's really going to be good. But they also had to get some balls to DK Metcalf and to Tyler Lockett. So I think there will be some big signs that Odunze is going to be a big player. But for year 1 expectations, I think Colin and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be 1. Malik Neighbors is going to be the only reason why the Giants have some resemblance of an offense. And then I would say it's going to be Odunze 3 just because there's more mouths to feed with the Chicago Bears this year compared to the other 2 situations that we just mentioned. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a timeout. When we do return, it is a Winkler Wednesday. Bart Winkler is going to join us when we come on back. Update time first, though. Here she is, Erica Herskowitz.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, we got some news from the NBA this afternoon. The Cavs reportedly came to terms with center Jarrett Allen on a 3-year, $91 million max contract extension that'll guarantee him $131 million over the next 5 seasons. Allen becomes the 3rd key Cav, joining Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley to sign a massive extension this summer. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies reportedly inked free agent guard Luke Kennard to a 1-year deal worth $11 million to keep him in Memphis. Baseball scoreboard right now, bottom 7, the Braves lead the Brewers 4-2. Top 9, the Royals lead the White Sox 8-3. Bottom 7, it's the Cardinals 9, Rangers 1. Bottom 3rd, the Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 1-0. Also in the first inning right now, the Mariners and Red Sox are scoreless. Earlier today, the Yankees beat the Phillies 6-5. The Orioles bounced the Blue Jays 10-4. The Twins topped the Mets 8-3, and the Marlins beat the Rays 6-2. From the NFL, the Patriots have reportedly come to terms with defensive tackle Devon Godshaw on a 2-year contract extension worth up to $21 million. And Katie Ledecky won her 8th gold medal, winning the women's 1,500-meter freestyle final today. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's an epic battle for the Infinity Sports Network. Sack.
Lethargic, putrid, pathetic. Quitters. They're quitters. What a joke.
Bart.
Something fun to talk about. That's what we do here. It's like, hey, guys, it's like we're just hanging out at a bar talking sports.
It's time for Winkler Wednesday. Only on the Zach Gelb Show.
I'm very concerned about my next guest. He is Bart Winkler. You can listen to him on the Bart Winkler Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network, weeknights from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Bart, you have any idea why I'm concerned about my next guest?
I don't know. Is this Aaron Rodgers related somehow?
Has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers, has nothing to do with sports, and no, this is not me trying to start another feud with one of your producers. But during the break, I said, you know what, I need a little cup of coffee. So I went to our Dunkin' Donuts lounge here in the New York headquarters, and I got a nice little cup of coffee. I'm usually a cold brew guy, but they only had hot coffee today. So I got my hot coffee from Dunkin' Donuts and, from the studio here. And I see Carlos Ortiz, your producer, already in the building. If he's already here for a show that starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, let's say he got in 15 minutes ago, I didn't ask him, then I don't know if he's going to have the stamina to get through the entirety of your show that ends at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. That seems like too much preparation. And maybe you have to have a conversation with Carlos.
I don't know what you demand of your crew over there, but I demand nothing but perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting?
Well, I have an imperfect crew, if I'm being honest.
Neither Carlos or I are working tonight, so I don't know what he's doing there in the first place.
Oh, wait. You're off tonight? So
yeah. What's
up with this show? Here you are on this show when you're off. Let me tell you, if I do a few weeklies, if I'm off from the show, I'm not doing the weekly. And then so you're still here, okay, I could respect that. Carlos, what the heck is he's off tonight?
I don't know what he's doing there. Like, actually has me a little concerned. Why would he be there?
I have no clue. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. You being here, understandable. Carlos on an off day, showing up to work. Someone has to tell him, you don't need to kiss ass anymore. All right? You already got the job. You don't need to be here and suck it up to, I guess, whoever he's trying to suck up to here. That's crazy.
For me, I just have to open my laptop and talk to my buddy for 10 minutes. There's no sweat off my back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got to come into town. Jeez, what's he doing?
He just texted me. He had to return a Comrex.
Oh.
You didn't have to return the Comrex today. They got 9,000 Comrexes. So I guess he was filling in somewhere and he needed a Comrex?
Yeah, he's been doing some radio in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. So good for Carlos. All righty, let me get your thoughts, because I haven't talked to you since last week. We knew the Jordan Love contract was going to happen. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to happen, just when was it going to happen. It happened at the end of the week when this whole thing did go down. What was your first reaction when you saw the numbers?
I thought it would be higher. I thought he would be over 55, but he settled in at 55. And again, it's all about the contract breakdown. So essentially, in the little like breaking down of it that I have done, it's more like a 3-year extension for like 150 million. Because this last year is slated for 70 some, which is not going to happen. They'll do a new extension or they'll do something. And he got the guaranteed money up front and a lot of it, which is a little different for the Packers. End of the day, I like it. I wanted Jordan Love to continue to be our quarterback. I think a lot of people have come up with the line, he had 8 good games. Well, he had 8 MVP caliber games. And if that's not enough, then I'm sorry. But he also, if you take the bulk of his season, statistically, it was about an Aaron Rodgers non-MVP season, which was still very good. And you are paying the guy not for what he did, but for what he's going to do. And the bigger overarching theme that I've been harping on probably too much is these teams have to make a choice. And if you have a quarterback that's good, they're going to get paid. Otherwise, what's the other option? You want the Packers to put 3 years into Jordan Love, then see him play for a year where he plays very well and overdoes expectations, and then say, well, don't want him taking up 15% of the cap, so let's start over. And for the most part, teams do a good job of deciding, oh, this quarterback, okay, fine, or this quarterback, no, with the exception of the Giants, of course, and Daniel Jones.
I have no problem with the deal. And I know that there's going to be some people that, like you said, oh, it's only 8 games. He had 20 total touchdowns and interception. And then let me remind everyone, got into the playoffs and won a playoff game. And, had them in that second playoff game where people thought, oh, maybe the 49ers were going to go down in that spot. So I have no problem with the deal. And also, he's Gutekunst's guy. If Gutekunst came to the media and said, yeah, I ran Rodgers out of town, and then you couldn't get a deal done with Love after what Love just showed you, he would look like a fool. So they had to get this deal done. And you know what? Let me pull it up here. For people that are like freaking out, oh, that he hasn't done enough. I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. I did not look at this beforehand, but I just pulled up the top 10 guys in the league, the highest paid AAV guys per year, average annual value salary.
I could probably tell you at the top of my head. I've been looking at this list like crazy.
Oh, yeah? All right, go ahead. Let's see how many in the 10 you could get.
It's Lawrence, Burrow, and Love.
Yes.
Goff, Lamar, and...
You're forgetting Tua.
Yeah, Tua, Goff, and Lamar are up there. Who else is over 50? Jalen Hurts. Herbert.
Yep.
But when you look at these guys...
But here's my point that I'm making.
There's no Super Bowl wins.
Not only that, how many of these guys in the top 10 have playoff wins? Burrow, yes. Love, yes. Lawrence, he had the one against the Chargers. Tua, no. Goff, yes. Herbert, no. Lamar, yes. Hurts, yes. Murray, no. Watson, yes. All right, so actually, there are only 3 guys that don't in the top 10.
You got to look at the Super Bowls, and this is what I think a lot of people are like trying to figure out. When you pay this guy, obviously, okay, you have to pay the guy, you're stuck, whatever, good or bad. But is he going to win you a Super Bowl? That's why you want this guy. And there's 3 guys in there.
Only 3 have been to an NFC championship game, and only a championship game. Only 2 have been to a Super Bowl in the top 10.
Burrow, Goff,
Hurts,
and they all lost.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at who's been winning Super Bowls in the last 7 years.
Oh, so then 3 have been to a Super Bowl. You're right, because Goff was with the Rams. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at who's won the Super Bowls, Mahomes takes up 3 of them. Brady still sneaks in there.
You had Rodgers, you had Breeze, you had Manning, both Mannings.
I mean, but even like in recent, like in the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, these guys are getting criticized for, well, they haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes won 3 of them.
So let's do this.
Yeah, it's tilted things a bit.
Out of the guys in the top 10, just give me a yes or no. Can you see them win a Super Bowl? Burrow.
Okay, I want to, yes. But again, the thing with the AFC is Mahomes is the best.
Yes, but the Bengals have been the only team that has actually defeated the Chiefs when it matters.
So who are the next three?
Besides
Allen,
the Pats.
Lamar, and Burrow. Allen, Lamar, and Burrow are the next three.
You're talking about
I'm talking about how you would rank them.
I would say after Mahomes, it is Burrow, Allen, and then, Lamar.
Can you guarantee that all of them win a Super Bowl? One of those guys does not win a Super Bowl, maybe two.
No.
And then you still have Stroud and Lawrence and, I don't know, Richardson.
Herbert.
So I can see these guys winning a Super Bowl, but I don't know that they ever will.
All right, let's do it this way. Gun to your head. Yes or no, do they win a Super Bowl? Burrow.
In their career?
Yes.
Okay.
Burrow.
No.
Wow. Okay. I would say yes. Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence.
No.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Absolutely not.
We'll circle back to that one. Jared Goff.
Yes.
Wow. Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Okay. Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts.
See, this is too many Super Bowls if I keep saying yes.
Well, I'm not forcing you to say yes or no. You're the one doing it.
Jalen Hurts? No.
Kyler Murray.
He might win a UFL championship.
Deshaun Watson.
I don't know that he's starting in week 9.
So, you look at it, the guys in the top 10, it's I feel best about Burrow out of the guys in the top 10 moving forward. Burrow, Love, Lawrence, Tua, Goff, Herbert, Lamar, Hurts, Murray, and Watson. The guy I feel the best about is Burrow. But you look outside of the top 10, you got Mahomes, you got Allen.
Yeah.
It's the Mahomes and Allen deals right now are bargains. Not even top 10 paid quarterbacks in the league. It's crazy. Really
and
is.
Stafford's the other one that has won a Super Bowl that's still playing.
Yeah. Rodgers, too. Your guy Aaron Rodgers, who I saw was doing.
Yeah, I forgot about him. I see that he's getting fake fights at Jets camp. That's cool.
Now, the two things I'll say about this. You said Tua, hell no. What's your stance on Tua? Because I think Tua is just a good quarterback, not a great quarterback.
I mean, if you're the Dolphins, you make that. I mean, you have to continue with Tua. He's a good quarterback.
And you haven't had a quarterback since Marino. So.
Yeah, but does he do you win a Super Bowl because of Tua, or is Tua on the team and they win a Super Bowl? Like Brock Purdy. We haven't even mentioned that idiot.
Why do you call? What's up with Botcher's calling people idiots? You're calling people idiots? No, if you win a Super Bowl, I'm not taking it away from you. You guys with the name calling. I'm getting very sensitive about this. Calling people idiots. I don't remember what Botcher, who'd you call an idiot today?
Garrett Crochet.
Oh, yeah.
And he is.
Okay. And then now you're calling Brock Purdy an idiot. Trust me, I have done battle with the 49ers fans. I have done serious battle with the 49ers fans. I wouldn't bark up that tree if I'm you, Bart.
Well, I haven't called anybody weird, which is soon going to be an FCC violation, the way some people are reacting to being called weird. My goodness.
Bart Winkler here with us for a few more minutes at his weekly spot on Winkler Wednesdays. So, Jordan Love, when it's all said and done, how are we talking about Jordan Love? Well, Jordan Love, I don't even want to say when all said and done, 10 years from now, Jordan Love is what?
I don't know. I mean, so what am I going to say here? He's going to make the Hall of Fame like the other two did?
Well, that's the standard. You got to be a Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl champion in Green Bay. Look at Favre. People say he only won one. Rodgers only won one. So you got to, bare minimum, win a Super Bowl and be a Hall of Famer for this to be an enormous success in Green Bay.
I would say winning a Super Bowl is hopefully the expectation that if he's going to be here for 10 years, he wins a Super Bowl. I would also say that secretly, the Green Bay Packers have been one of the more dysfunctional organizations of the last 25 years.
Oh, that's not true. How?
Well, I would go through every team.
You can't be dysfunctional when you're constantly in the playoffs. You just can't be. And you have 2 Super Bowls.
That's it,
Dysfunction,
though.
Detroit,
That's it.
Chicago, the Jets, not Green Bay.
If you give, maybe there's 1 or 2 teams that would blow it. But if you give any other team in the league, Brett Favre from 92 to 07, and then Aaron Rodgers from 08 to 23, everyone's at least winning 1 Super Bowl with each of those guys. You get 1 Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning only won 1 Super Bowl with the Colts.
Well, then they maybe only win 1 with Favre. But there's so many other teams that if they had 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play, would have won at least 2 Super Bowls with each guy.
Yeah, well, you look at the people that were standing in their way. Brady for Rodgers, and now Mahomes is the guy standing in everybody else's way. Like, even the Packers get the Super Bowl. If Mahomes is there, that's going to be tough to get through. The thing about Love that I'll say is the NFC doesn't have a face right now. He could be the face eventually in the NFC at the quarterback position. By the way, what shirt are you wearing today?
Rock the Dome, St. Louis Battlehawks.
You're wearing an XFL shirt?
Well, it's UFL now, but I did get it when the XFL closed during COVID. They had a 90% off sale their website.
Oh, okay.
So I just loaded up on gear, man.
My favorite XFL piece of memorabilia, I don't even have one, was when Rod Smart wrote "He Hate Me" on the nameplate of his jersey. That, to me, if I was buying something XFL related, I would.
Next time I'm on with you, I'll wear my Orlando Rage jersey.
Wow. So you go deep into the weird football here is what you're saying. Hopefully that doesn't get me thrown off the air. All right, you won't hear Bart Winkler tonight. Who's filling in for you?
David Allen Shepard.
Oh, wonderful. I will be tuning in and definitely listening.
I don't know if that's his middle name.
He's Bart Winkler, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time, right here on the Infinity Sports Network, just not tonight. I was off on Monday. I thought Linnell Willingham was filling in for me. And then I get in the car and it ended up being Sean Levine. And since I didn't hear the host say his name in the first 10 minutes segment, I had no clue it was us. I thought it was Linnell Willingham until Santa told me on Tuesday, yeah, no, it wasn't Linnell filling in for you. Coming on back, talking Aaron Rodgers next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, away we go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll preview the Bears with Alex Brown, their former defensive lineman, coming up 20 minutes from now. I'll get to a little Aaron Rodgers conversation in just a second. But before we do that, Ryan Botcher, you are a very interesting human being. So you were going to see a concert on Friday at Mohegan Sun. What's the name of the band again?
Greta Van Fleet.
And then on Monday, you were going to see Green Day. Now, I didn't know that there was someone opening up for Green Day, but I probably should have known that. Last time I saw Green Day, it was just at the Madden party with Samter, so they had a bunch of different acts throughout the night. But I saw Green Day in L.A., and Miley Cyrus opened up for Green Day. It was like I think it was a Bud Light Super Bowl or Michelob Ultra Super Bowl concert. I forget what. So not traditional places where you're going to see Green Day, and they're going to have other people there. But you're telling me when you go to Green Day, they have how many opening acts?
2.
So who are the opening acts?
Rancid is the first opener.
Okay.
And then Smashing Pumpkins is the second one.
And do you know how many songs they're playing or about how long they're going for?
I'd assume Rancid will get like 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then Smashing Pumpkins will get like an hour.
And what time does the concert start?
5:30 is on the ticket.
So
probably
when will
5:30 or 6.
The first opening act.
Probably 5:30 or 6.
Okay. So at like 6 o'clock around-ish? They play for 30 minutes, and then
15
you said
15 minutes to switch over.
15 minutes. So let's say you start at 6, you go to 6:30. Smashing Pumpkins comes out at 6:45. And how long do they play for?
An hour.
7:45, and then Green Day's on at like 8:05, right?
Yep.
And how long does Green Day play for?
To 11.
11. Huh. And they're giving you how many songs you said?
36.
Why? Is there like some significance to
It's
this?
the 30th anniversary of Dookie, and it's the 20th anniversary of American Idiot. They're playing both albums in full.
Oh, okay. I'm like, that doesn't add up to 36. But okay. So that's why they're playing the entirety of both albums.
And then they have the other hits.
And then the other hits that you got to play, or else people will.
No. A majority of the hits are on those two, but then they released an album, so they're playing like 3 songs from the new album.
Okay, gotcha. Maybe this is just me. I'm not an opening act guy at a concert. Like when I go to see Springsteen in Pittsburgh and then Springsteen in Philadelphia in August, I would actually be annoyed if there was an opening act. I'm going to see the person that I paid for. I don't need the appetizers, in this case, before the main course. I just want to go right for the main course here when I'm paying. That's too long. 5:30 to 11 at a concert?
That's perfect. Especially
Way too long.
Especially when you like the openers, it's like an added bonus.
Okay, so you're a big fan of both these openers.
Granted, not really. Don't even know a hit from them. But Smashing Pumpkins,
So
definitely.
you will be in your seat by 5:30?
Yes.
You're going with a bunch of people or no?
Just one person.
And that person
yep.
is going to be joining you right at 5:30
Yes.
as well. Oh, jeez. If I was with you, I'd be like, I see you at 8. Maybe 7:30, get in the stadium, grab a beer, and then go sit down for Green Day. I don't need to see the openers. It's too many.
Well, then that Wednesday is Journey, Def Leppard, and Steve Miller. So all 3 of those guys are together, and I'll be there too.
You go to a lot of concerts.
That's where I waste my money.
So in a 1 week stretch?
Yes.
You're going to 3
I'm
concerts.
going one on Thursday, but that's an indie band.
Are you a screamo guy?
I do want to see Slipknot and Knocked Loose at the Garden in 2 weeks, but I haven't gotten tickets for that yet.
So give me. You have to see 5 concerts. 5 concerts for the rest of your life. Who are you seeing?
Does this include openers?
You're a loser
I'm joking.
if you have to include an opener.
Okay, so Metallica.
Okay.
Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. Avenged Sevenfold. That's metal.
I could see Botcher in a mosh pit.
No.
Being a
and
savage.
then Kanye West, if he ever went on tour.
See, here's the thing. I've seen Kanye before. Great in concert. I can't trust Kanye, though, anymore at a concert. He'll, ramble about something, politics, and then walk off the stage.
But I've never seen him.
Which he's done.
So that's the one thing I'd like to see him once before he goes insane. In, a month.
Yeah. Mine, Bruce Springsteen, who I've seen a countless amount of times. Jay-Z, who I've seen countless amount of times. After that, Eminem. I've never seen Eminem live. I don't even know I'd give you 2 more. I like Dave Matthews, so I'd go see Dave Matthews Band.
Can't see him again. I went when I was like 8 years old and I got a beer report on me. Worst day ever.
Wait. You were at the concert, with a parent?
I was with my dad.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, let's go see Dave Matthews. I only knew Ants Marching. So I'm like, okay.
Crash into me.
Yeah, so I sat down and these 2 people behind us were absolutely hammered. And I got beard poured on me.
Okay.
And my dad was like...
As an 8-year-old?
Yep. And I was like, we're not into
Where was the show?
The Garden, I think it was.
Okay. So I would probably say those are the 4. And then I'll get back to you on a 5th. But I wasn't expecting you to be a big... I'm not an opener guy. I'm just not. I've never have been. I saw... Who was it? It was U2. No, was it? Oh, yeah, it was U2 at the Sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had some it wasn't a traditional opener, but they had a DJ out there. And I'm like, all right, it's just a waste of everybody's time. Just an absolute waste of everybody's time.
It's a warm-up. That's when you get there, get your merch, get some drinks in, and then by the time U2 starts, you'll be ready.
I could pregame on my way there, or I could pregame at the spot without needing an opener. I just doesn't doesn't do it for me. But that's just me. All right, let's hear from Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets, Jets. Will Aaron Rodgers play this preseason? Listen up.
We haven't really talked about it. My instinct right now as I stand here is we'll see.
Your instinct is we'll see.
My instinct is no, but
I saw you going.
But I want to leave it open that that third game is the one where we're deciding. So he definitely won't play the first two, but the discussion on the third one we just haven't quite had yet.
He's not playing a preseason game. Now, the final preseason game is the Giants. He did play in that game last year, if you do recall. But I don't think they're going to throw him out there in the preseason. And quite frankly, I don't know their joint practice schedules. I don't think you need to play in the preseason anymore. If you are someone like Aaron Rodgers, yeah, there's rust to knock off. I don't think you're going to be able to knock off that rust in the preseason. I would, if they have joint practices, I would say you could get that fix, what you would get in the preseason, in more of a controlled environment. Could you imagine if they play him in that preseason game against the Giants and he suffers anyone now saying he needs to play in the preseason would crucify the head coach of the Jets and Robert Saleh for actually playing him. But right out of the gate, there's your statement for Aaron Rodgers. Primetime, Monday Night Football, Week 1 in San Francisco, up against the 49ers. Then after that, they play Tennessee, the Pats, and the Broncos. Outside of San Francisco, easy schedule to start off the year. And they play Minnesota the following week. So in the first 6 games of the season, you really only have 2 tough games. It's San Francisco and Buffalo. Buffalo's a Monday night. I'll go to that game. Even though I'm not a Bills fan nor a Jets fan. That game in New Jersey, I will go. The Jets, to me, are a draw this year to go see Rodgers play. I will go primetime games in New York or in New Jersey, do the show, and then go. Let's see how many I'll go to this year. I'll go to the Bills game. They play my Pats on Thursday, September 19th, so I'll probably go to that. Oh, Texans, man, on Halloween at MetLife Stadium, that's a heck of a game. And they play Indianapolis, Sunday Night Football. I don't know if I'll go to that because Sunday's sitting in my calendar. I don't know if I want to go Sunday night, as you have to go to work the following day. It's doable. But I'll go to 3 Jet games this year. And I'm not a Jet fan. But I want to go see my team play the Pats, and it's a Thursday night. Then they play Buffalo. We'll definitely go to that. That could be the E.J. Stewart game. Maybe Deion Dawkins takes E.J. to the game, lets him be his +1 because he suffered a torn patella tendon in his game. And then I love the Texans. I do. I love watching C.J. Stroud play. So I wasn't a big fan of his when he was at Ohio State. But ever since going to Houston, I've been a big fan of his. And I enjoyed our conversation with him at the Super Bowl. So what's my expectations this year for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? I'll get to that in just a second. But here was Leroy Horde with us yesterday on the show. And he had some questions about the Jets in the AFC East. The Jets defense, that's what gives me the slight edge to the Jets over the Dolphins in that 1-2-3 finish.
So you think the Dolphins are going to finish 3rd?
Yeah. You could order them any way you want, 1, 2, 3. And I can't yell at you and tell you that you're wrong.
I would say this. The team I have the most questions about are the Jets. Like, I'm making more of a big deal about a 40-year-old coming back from an Achilles with a team that he hasn't really played with yet. Like, that's not a small task to come onto a new team and have only played 4 live plays. So there's some learning that they're going to have to go through. And I'm curious to see how is the season going to start, and are they going to have enough time if they have to learn on the fly and grow on the fly to catch up at the end?
You actually look at it, the 3 teams in the AFC East that we're talking about to go win the division, all 3 of them have questions. Let me do a little exercise here. I just want to see if we're on the same page, Botcher. What's the biggest question with the Bills, in your opinion, entering this season?
Wide receivers.
I would agree, right? I would say, what are the Bills' offense without Stephon Diggs? Now, I think the Bills I think Josh Allen's going to win the division, win the MVP. But Keon Coleman, you're asking a lot out of. James Cook was good down the stretch, the running back. Kincaid, or Cook was great the entirety of the season. Kincaid came on strong down the stretch. You got good 2 tight ends there, Kincaid and Knox. I don't even know if Marquez Valdez-Scantling's going to be on the team for some of the reports that you read, but now he's there. in Buffalo. So that's the biggest question with the Bills, the wide receivers. If I had to give another question with the Bills, it's Von Miller. And is he going to be back? Because last year he wasn't healthy. And I saw there was big, like Deion Dawkins said today, I guess to some reporter, that Von Miller is back. But different saying that in July and then when the season rolls around. But I would say the wide receiver is the biggest question for the Bills. Jets, what's your biggest question?
Offensive line.
Are you a Jet fan?
Yes.
I would agree the offensive line is the biggest question for the Jets. And I think Rodgers will win comeback player of the year. I think you'll have the comeback player of the year in the AFC East. That will be Rodgers. MVP will be Josh Allen. But the line's the biggest question mark.
And play calling.
Well, if I had to say the two biggest questions with the Jets, you're right. It's coaching and it's the offensive line. Nathaniel Hackett, not a fan. Robert Saleh, I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he's a good defensive coordinator. But it's the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the line. And they've improved the offensive line, but they've been improving the offensive line or saying they've improved the offensive line for years. Smith's a walk-in injury as great of a player as he is. I know you got the kid Fashanu from Penn State, but everyone was telling you that Becton was going to be great, and how that turned out. Now he's throwing it up in training camp, which is, I guess, a yearly tradition for him with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what's your biggest question with the Dolphins?
Players returning to their normal selves after injury.
Botcher is a good football fan. On the spot, excellent. We're in lockstep. I look at the Dolphins, some questions on the offensive line, no doubt about it. Questions if Tua can be great. But you look at that defense, you got Phillips coming off a major injury at the end of the season and Bradley Chubb coming off a major injury at the end of the season. Who wins the AFC East in your opinion? You going with your squad, your Jets?
I got to. It's Homer.
Yeah.
I got to go Jets, and then I'd say the Bills finish second, but it's close.
So yesterday I said Bills won because until someone knocks them off, I'm not going to believe someone will, or I'm not going to make the case that they will. I put the Jets 2 and the Dolphins 3. I trust the Jets defense more than the Dolphins. I trust Rodgers more than Tua, and both lines have question marks. Even though the Dolphins' skill position players are better than the Jets, but the Jets, it's not like Joe Schmo. You got Garrett Wilson, and you got Breece Hall. The Dolphins just have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. You also have Odell Beckham Jr., who I know you could say, oh, it's Odell, whatever, you can't expect. He's their third wide receiver. It's a pretty damn good third wide receiver to have. It's not like you're screwed if he's not good. And then you got a good 1-2 punch in the backfield with Mostert and then Devon Achane. But I think the Jets this year, they're a playoff team, wild card weekend, Rodgers comeback player of the year. That's what would be my expectation for the Jets. But you are a Jet fan. You said win the AFC East. How far are you willing to go with the Jets? Because my best friend is a delusional Jet fan, takes the bait like no other. I said to him today, gun to your head, what's your Jet prediction? He goes, 11 wins. And then he gave me a bleeping grin and he goes, and Super Bowl championship. Which I don't think the Jets will win the Super Bowl.
If they don't make
I don't think the Jets will win the conference championship game.
If they don't make the conference championship game, the season's disappointment. Because it looks like right now you're not getting Reddick back.
You'll get Reddick back by week 1.
No, for the next year. So I think it's a 1 year and he'll be gone. They expect Will McDonald to step up. But if they don't win it this year or get close to winning it, when are they ever? Rodgers is only getting older.
Okay. By the way, I'll give you my update rankings here. I said if I could only go to 5 concerts for the rest of my life, who would be the 5 concerts? I'll give an honorable mention. I think this will surprise people. I've never been. Got to go to one Taylor Swift show. Even though that's not my scene, just how big of an event that is, I have to go to one honorable mention. But I can only go to 5 concerts the rest of my life, in no order. Bruce, Dave Matthews Band, Eminem, Jay-Z, Zach Bryan. I've seen Bruce many times, seen Dave Matthews Band many times, seen Jay-Z many times, never seen Eminem, and I had tickets to see Zach Bryan this year. And I didn't realize I wasn't a Zach Bryan fan then became a Zach Bryan fan. Didn't go, though, because that was the night we went to the Sphere in Vegas. So those would be my 5. If I have 5 shows to see for the rest of my life, those would be my 5. What's your 5 again, Potcher?
Metallica, Foo Fighters.
Smashing Pumpkins.
I did see them at Jones Beach headline, but that was a separate show. But Metallica, Foo Fighters, Avenged Sevenfold, Kanye West, and the last one's a toss-up between Green Day and I'll say Greta Van Fleet.
Gotcha. All righty. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. What are our expectations for the Bears? We'll talk to former Bears defensive lineman Alex Brown next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
I want to say about 2 weeks ago, we were talking about USA Today. They gave their Super Bowl prediction and all their playoff teams. And their Super Bowl prediction was the Green Bay Packers up against the New York Jets, with the Jets winning it all. I just saw that Pro Football Network put out their 14 playoff teams. They didn't have the Packers making the playoffs of the NFC and the Jets not making the playoffs of the AFC. So one publication, it shows you how crazy this year of football does, has their Super Bowl matchup, Jets and Packers. The other publication doesn't even have either making the playoffs. The 7 playoff teams from the AFC, in order: Bengals 1, Dolphins 2, Texans 3, Chiefs 4, Colts 5, Bills 6, Ravens 7. Those are the 7 AFC teams from Pro Football Network. And in the NFC, the Cowboys as the 1 seed. Wow. San Francisco 2, Lions 3, Falcons 4, Eagles 5th, Bears 6, and Tampa Bay in at 7. So that's what you had there. So no Green Bay in the NFC, no Rams in the NFC, and in the AFC, no Jets making the postseason. So how about that? And no Steelers or Browns as well. My teams right now, and the last I gave this was on July 10th, but I'm going to stick with it. I have the Bills win in the East, the Bengals win in the North, the Jaguars win in the South, the Chiefs win in the West, and then my wild card teams right now, Ravens, Jets, and Texans in the AFC. And in the NFC, I have the Eagles win in the East, the Lions win in the North, the Falcons win in the South, the 49ers win in the West, and then the wild card teams are the Rams, the Packers, and the Bears. But the Bears I have high expectations for, and it's to make a wild card. It would be disappointing to me if the Chicago Bears don't make a wild card spot this year, because they just got taken care of DJ Moore on a 4-year contract extension. You got Keenan Allen, you got Rome Odunze, you got Komet. You obviously have Swift, Herbert in the backfield, and Caleb Williams. That offense should be enough to win 2 more games for what they did last year and make the playoffs this year, even though the NFC North is very tricky. All righty, let's preview the Chicago Bears right now. Botcher, hit it.
Football season is right around the corner.
Holding himself, runs to the left, he's to the 5, Lamar's in, touchdown Ravens. They're going to have a championship game in Baltimore because the Hayes of the barn.
Will it be your team's year to hoist the Lombardi?
In the shotgun, Mahomes, he runs and he throws, caught, touchdown, it's caught, Hardman caught the ball, the Chiefs have won, the Chiefs have won. The entire bench empties, chasing Mahomes in the end zone. Their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years.
We preview all 32 teams right here on the Zach Gelb Show. The Chicago Bears.
All righty, the Bears were 7-10 a year ago, but they did have the number 1 overall pick from that great trade with the Carolina Panthers. If you're a Chicago fan, you say it is a great trade. Panthers fans, maybe not so much. But now, this is a team, when we take a look at the Bears, there's playoff expectations with who they have at quarterback. So let's welcome in Alex Brown, who works for NBC Sports Chicago and obviously is a former defensive lineman for the Chicago Bears from 2002 to 2009. And he's kind enough to join us once again on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Alex, how you been, my man?
Been great, man. How you doing?
Well, I'm fantastic. Hey, I look at this team, the Bears, I'd be disappointed if they're not making the playoffs this year as a wild card team. I know you have high expectations for them, but I look at as simply as this. This team is better than what they were last year. I know it doesn't always translate to more wins, but you put Caleb Williams on this team, that should instantly, even in a rookie year, put them at 2 wins better, and 9-8 probably makes the postseason from where they were last year at 7-10.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when you put when you get better play at the quarterback position, which I think you will, even though he's a rookie, I think you'll get better quarterback play. I also think that they have a lot better skill position players around him. So when you talk about Swift, you talk about Keenan Allen, you got Rome Odunze, you lock in DJ Moore. I mean, we're talking about a kid, a super talented quarterback coming into quite possibly a perfect environment, right? With a I'm not going to use great yet, but with a really good defense, I think, on the other side. So I'm very optimistic about this team. I think they have a real shot. Everybody wants to talk about how great the Detroit Lions are. The Bears, last year's team should have beat them twice. They beat them once. They had them on the ropes. I think Detroit had to score. Sorry about that. My dog's going crazy. But the Detroit, the last game they had, that they had I think they had to score like 14 points in the last 3 minutes to beat them, which we're talking about a Bears team that wasn't that good. Now we're talking about a much improved as far as talent-wise, and now the defense with the expectation and some of those young players that were playing good, Stevenson being one, you got that defensive line now that's coming together. I think they're going to be really good. I have high hopes for this team. I really do. I'm not going to say they're going to the Super Bowl, but if you're asking me how far this team could go, and I wouldn't be surprised, it's the NFC Championship game. Very much so like the New Orleans Saints back in 2006, where everybody was kind of shocked, but they had a lot of weapons that came in and just gave that whole team a jolt, and they just kind of rode it until they ran into what was a buzzsaw in the Chicago Bears back then.
Wow. How about that? That would be something if they would be in an NFC title game. I also thought it was very important that they took care of DJ Moore. Not that there's ever character concerns with DJ Moore or Keenan Allen, like Rome Odunze. Like sometimes with wide receivers, right, if they're not getting their touches, we know they could be a pain in the ass. All three of those guys, for the most part, are pretty good character guys. But taking care of DJ Moore now, if there's a game where it's like, hey, Allen and Odunze are the guys and Moore's targets aren't as high as they once were, I think that was very important to get that deal done the other day.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You look at a guy like Robinson that they went and got from, I want to say they went and got him from Jacksonville a few years ago. And I think he and DJ were very similar. They played ball and they showed up no matter who the quarterback was. And then when they got to Chicago, Robinson didn't show up like DJ Moore did for DJ Moore showing up for Justin Fields the way he showed up. I think you have to take care of that guy. And then you bring in a Rome Odunze with a top pick. You bring in a veteran like Keenan Allen. You still have to show DJ Moore that you're our guy. You know, you still have to show him that. And I think the Bears did a really good job of doing that they gave him the highest contract in Bears history. So I think he's pretty happy.
Alex Brown here with us. Why are you so confident with this defense? When you look at this defense, you being a good defensive player in this league, why do you think this defense is going to take that next step this year?
Well, first off, I think the team's mantra, the team's attitude comes from the defensive side of football. I think when you saw them playing good football, it was because the defense was playing good football. The defense was controlling the game. The defense was getting after people. They were running around. They were hustling to the football. And I think that was the first kind of year, and not even the year. I think it was the second part of the year. They needed that horse. And when they got that horse, that dog in the middle, and that was Sweat. He's on the outside. But once they got Sweat, I think it allowed the other players to just be themselves. It's like if you took back on our team, look at a 2016 team, and you took Lance Briggs and you wanted Lance Briggs to be Urlacher, and then you take Hunter Hillemeyer, you tell him to be Lance Briggs. Well, like everybody's kind of out of order there. But once you get Urlacher in there to be Urlacher, now other guys can just be who they are and play within themselves and make plays. And I think that's what happened once Sweat got there. The secondary didn't have to cover for as long because now you got a guy that can get to the quarterback. And with that comes the other guys trying to get to the quarterback. Then you got a guy like Stevenson at corner coming along as a young guy, pushing some of these older guys. And everything just kind of snowballed, and you saw him play probably at a top 5-6 level the last half of the season. If you can get that defense to play a full season with that offense and the firepower that they have, and obviously there's a lot of questions with a rookie quarterback, but I tell you what, he don't have to play like C.J. Stroud for the Bears to really make some hay and get to where the Houston Texans got to last year. And that was just the second round. That wasn't even the championship game.
I think it's a great comparison because, we're a prisoner of the moment. What happened the following, the season before, even though Bryce Young was a disaster in Carolina, Stroud walked into a dumpster fire of a situation, and overnight they were a playoff team, and not only a playoff team, they won a playoff game, like you were saying. This situation that Williams is walking into in Chicago, I made the analogy earlier, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I know what you just said about the defensive side of the ball, but you're walking into the bowling alley and the bumpers are up. With how many pieces there around, with Allen and Moore and Odunze and the 2 running backs and Kmet. Williams, even if he's not great right away, he's going to put up a pretty good score, you would think.
Mm-hmm. I've said this before now, and I truly believe this, okay? So when you go back and you look at it after the show, like after you get finished, go back and look at Jay Cutler's best year. That is what I'm expecting from Williams this year. That's what I'm expecting. I think he will surpass Jay Cutler's best year this year. And I think then everybody in Chicago will be on board.
Yeah, he'll have 4,000 yards. There's no doubt about it. And I know no Bear quarterback has done that. But if he doesn't have 4,000 yards, I think 4,000 yards in a playoff spot. If he does that, 4,000 yards, 9-8, that's a pretty damn successful season for the Bears. But as you said, you think that could even be a little bit higher.
I think it's going to be higher. And I think my man Urlacher is going to have to really fight for those billboards that he has up in Chicago, because if he goes for 4,000 yards and throws for 30 touchdowns, Caleb Williams will be on most of the billboards in Chicago.
It's crazy how many billboards Urlacher's still on. Coaching-wise, Eberflus, Shane Waldron, where's the confidence with the coaching staff?
I think I love Eberflus. Eberflus is, in my opinion, I think he's very similar to Coach Smith and what he did. A defensive-minded coach. He really cares about shutting people down. He cares about the guys running to the football. When you talk about Waldron, I mean, he's coming from a very similar situation out in Seattle where he had the 3 receivers that he had to get touches. So I think this time around, I think he can really get that done, making sure everybody stays happy. You got Cole Kmet, you got a running game. I think they're going to be on the field a lot, so he'll be able to satisfy all the mouths that he has to feed out there. It's just going to be finding what works, right? Do you come out throwing right away, or do you kind of ease Caleb into it by running the football early, trying to play more of a play action type football game? I'm not sure. Do you spread them out? You bring all 3 guys out there and you spread them out and you let Caleb throw the ball around. Is that what you're going to do? Because if you do that, and I know a lot of people want that to happen, December is coming, hey, November, December, January is coming, and you're not going to be able to do that when it's 0 degrees out there. So you better have a running game. You better make sure the offensive line has that certain amount of toughness about them that when we got to close a game at 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, that we can go get it. We don't have to throw the ball through a dang bubble screen to get a yard or 2. And that's what we've seen over the last 10 years. That's what we've had to do with Tressman, with Nagy, and come on, guys. It's 4th and inches. Why are we in the shotgun? Those are the things that it bothers you as a Chicago Bear fan. But I hope, and I think we have the players, we have the personnel to be able to pick up that 3rd and inches. I think they've addressed some of the needs. You always want more, okay? But they've done what they can to address the needs up to this point as far as the offensive line, the offensive firepower around the Caleb Williams, the defensive side of football. I think they've done a hell of a job putting together a really good football team.
Now, you think they could go to an NFC Championship game? I'm not going that far. I just said wild card round. But when you look at the rankings in the NFC North, I would say Lions are 1, Packers are 2, Bears are 3, Vikings are 4 heading into the season. How would you rank those teams 1, 2, 3, and 4 inside the North right now?
I don't think this Bears team is scared of Detroit. I don't. I think mentally to beat Green Bay, I think that's where the hurdle is. I think that's where the hurdle was for us. I think that's where the hurdle is for every Chicago team, honest Chicago Bear team. I think when you beat them, there's a different sort of confidence that come about you. Even when you go back and you look at the history of it, and just the Bears in 2001 went 13-3. 2 of those 3 losses was to Green Bay. It's like, what is happening? We go in 06, we go and blow the doors off of them. The first game of the season in 06, we go to the Super Bowl. It's just those things. You got to be able to beat them. I think I said it last year and people killed me for it, but when Green Bay has a bad year, they're 8-8, or in today's world, they're 8-9. Or 9-8. That's their bad year. Our bad year, we got the first pick.
Yeah.
So yes, they're the measuring stick. Okay, they're the measuring stick, and if you can beat them, I think there's a hurdle you cross. Just look at last year. Look at how good Detroit was,
especially week 1.
True. That Detroit was so good, and everybody was talking about them so well. That Bears team shouldn't have beat them and shouldn't have had them on the ropes in the other games. So I don't think this Bears team is scared of them. I think the hurdle will be Green Bay, and if you can beat them, I think the Bears can win this division.
You being a former Bear and you explaining the history of the Bears and the Packers, when you see the deal that Jordan Love got last week and what he was like down the stretch, are you just screaming in your house saying, man, here we go again with the Packers from Favre to Rodgers, and now the next guy up is Jordan Love?
I honestly, like how I am, I sit here and I scratch my head like, how in the hell do they keep doing this? Like we go through 38 quarterbacks trying to find him, and they just pick one, and he's the right one. Like, how do y'all do this? Like,
And no one wanted him. Outside of Gutekunst, no one wanted him.
Correct. Nobody wanted him. Look at Aaron Rodgers. How far he fell in the draft.
Yeah.
Look where Brett Favre was in Atlanta, and what they had to give up to get him. We're talking about 2 Hall of Famers and a guy that last game of the season when they played us, I was so mad. My first comment on NBC Chicago was, I want a guy like that. Why can't we get a guy like that? That's it. Like, that's what I want. We need a real quarterback, and I think we have one. I think we got it right this time. I think we have a quarterback that can lead us over the next 10, 12, 15 years, assuming he stays healthy and stays upright. I think the kid's just going to get better and better and better, and I think he wants to be great. So it's a good thing for the Bears and our fan base.
Well, let's be real. If this one does not work, Caleb Williams, with the situation he's walking to, I'm never taking a Bears quarterback serious again.
No, never again. I mean, it would be hard to take the Bears quarterback situation or the Bears picking a quarterback serious at all. Any quarterback they should pull the Eli Manning card if this doesn't work out.
I actually think you'd have some Packers fans that would feel bad for Bears fans if this one doesn't work out.
Right. I think Packer fans might be a little scared right now because they might be sitting in the back of the room saying, they might have got it right this time, you know? And if we did, they already know we come with a defense all the time and we can run the football. So if we got a quarterback now with the weapons on the outside, it's going to be a lot of fun because there are a lot of teams in this division that the Packers are good, Detroit's good. I'm not sure about Minnesota, but they do have Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So you always got to watch out for him. But we'll see. It's gonna be a lot of fun watching.
Always love when we get to connect with Alex Brown. Played for the Chicago Bears, made 2 Pro Bowls with them, and now does a great job, kick-ass job, NBC Sports Chicago. Alex, thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
You got it. There he is, Alex Brown joining us. Good stuff right there. NFC Championship potentially for the Bears. Wow, what a take that was. Wasn't expecting that. But did back it up in a very good way. And, man, that NFC North is going to be fun this year, no doubt about it. We'll get to a little Nebraska football next. Dylan Raiola. He's not going to join us on the show, but he's trying to be Patrick Mahomes. We'll tell you more about that when we return. Update time first, though. Here is Erica Herskowitz.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, the Cavaliers reportedly came to terms with center Jarrett Allen on a 3-year, $91 million max extension today that will guarantee him $131 million over the next 5 seasons. Allen becomes the 3rd key Cav, joining Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley to sign a massive extension this summer. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies reportedly signed free agent guard Luke Kennard to a 1-year deal worth $11 million that'll keep him in Memphis. Baseball scoreboard right now, 2 games in progress. Bottom 6, the Diamondbacks lead the Nationals 3-1, while the Mariners are in front of the Red Sox 2-1 in the 5th. Earlier today, a full slate of matinees. The Yankees beat the Phillies 6-5, sweeping the series and picking up a 5th straight win. The Orioles bounced the Blue Jays 10-4. It was the Cardinals over the Rangers 10-1. The Braves outscored the Brewers 6-2. The Twins topped the Mets 8-3. The Marlins beat the Rays 6-2, and the Royals knocked off the White Sox 10-3. Day 5 at the Paris Olympics, Katie Ledecky won her 8th Olympic gold medal, winning the women's 1,500-meter freestyle final. The U.S. men's basketball team defeated South Sudan 103-86. I'm Erica Herskowitz.
Hey, sports fans, it's Jim Rome. Check us out 24/7 on your local affiliate or the Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh my God, we're back again.
All righty, Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bella B in Calgary says, "Hi, Zach. Are you still friends with anyone from your childhood? Thanks. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts." You could submit a question, by the way, by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag AskThePros. Yeah, of course. Botcher, are you still friends with people from your childhood?
Yes, a few.
Okay. Now, like, you'll see in a few years, that list will get shorter and shorter. But I have like a core group, I think, of 8 friends from just growing up. But yeah, no, I'm going with one of them to Springsteen. That's in the Pittsburgh show. Next week, I'm off Friday. I'm at a rehearsal dinner and then a wedding on Saturday. That's for one of my best friends. And I actually just finished last night. I am the officiant for their wedding. So I had to finish the entire script. The great state of Rhode Island is allowing me to marry 2 people, if you could believe that. So that's that. And then, I actually have, I think it's a group of 20 guys celebrating my 30th. Now, it's August 9th, but on August 17th, the following week at Fogo de Chao. And I want to say like 8 or 9 of them are from home, from growing up. And then I'll talk to a few people occasionally that live in different states that I was like friends with, but not, best friends with from growing up. So yeah, I do have quite a few childhood friends. There's no doubt about it. And like camp friends and things like that. Anywho, this was Matt Rule with us. This was on December 20th of 2023 after it was announced that Dylan Raiola is not going to go to Georgia and he was actually going to go to Nebraska. Go Big Red! And Matt Rule compared Dylan Raiola to Patrick Mahomes. Listen up.
Dylan has amazing arm talent, as good as anyone I've seen. Can make all the throws all across the field. A big, powerful guy, but athletic in the pocket. You can tell he wears 15. He patterns a lot of his game after Patrick Mahomes. And while there is only one Patrick Mahomes, Dylan certainly can, has worked on making all of the off-platform throws and all the things you really have to do in today's game with the pass rushers and the pressure to move in the pocket and find guys that are open. So there's not a lot of transition for him in terms of the arm talent. He'll just have to kind of learn the system and grow as a quarterback from the ground up.
So not only is Dylan Raiola trying to be like Patrick Mahomes and mimic his game after Patrick Mahomes, he's also trying to mimic his appearance after Patrick Mahomes. So I saw this from ML Football today. 5-star Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola showed up for camp looking exactly like Patrick Mahomes. And then they reference our interview with Matt Rule in this tweet. If you didn't tell me, like if you just showed me a picture and said, Zach, who is this? I would say, oh, that's Patrick Mahomes. Same haircut. The only difference is Raiola is a lot thicker than Mahomes. He's bigger than Mahomes. And you could definitely see it in his legs. But man, You got Caleb Williams that I talked to, who told me at the Heisman Trophy presentation that there's nothing that Mahomes could do that he can't do. Something that Williams told me. And now you have Dylan Raiola trying to be like Patrick Mahomes. I'm telling you, Nebraska this year will be in a bowl game. Raiola, I'd be stunned if he's not starting week 1. But they're going to go win like 8 games this year. They had 5 last year, and they couldn't have anything to work right on offense. They're going to be fundamentally sound in the trenches. Defense was solid last year. But this team should win 8 or 9 games this year. You look at the schedule, the only game they can't win is Ohio State. And maybe USC. But I don't even think USC is going to be that good. You got UTEP, Colorado, they lost to last year. Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, and Indiana. You know, those first 7 games of the season, you better have 5 wins. Better. If not 6. Then they'll lose to Ohio State, you play UCLA, and then the last 3 games of the season, tough 3-game stretch for them. USC, Wisconsin, Iowa, probably all in the similar playing field as Nebraska is this year. But Nebraska fans are going to have something to look forward to for the first time in a while, and that's Dylan Raiola. And Matt Rule is a developmental coach. You saw what he did at Temple. You saw what he did at Baylor. I know it did not work in the NFL with the Panthers, but now back in the college game. And, hey, it was a lot tougher to rebuild Temple and Baylor than it is Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to be in a bowl game this year, and I'm really excited to see what Dylan Raiola does. All righty, that will conclude this Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Big thanks to Bart Winkler for stopping by. Big thanks to Alex Brown for stopping by. Ryan Botcher and Samter producing this extravaganza, and each and every one of you for calling, listening, and tweeting to the show. All righty, we will be back tomorrow on a Thursday. Got 2 more shows this week, Thursday and Friday. We'll talk to you mañana, everybody, at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break.